Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm one of your hosts, Petter, and with me I got my co-host, James.
Hey!
And today we're talking about Volume 17 of Kaguya-sama, Love is War. And first of all, before we get into the little pieces of discussion here, I'd like to just point out that the student council relationship diagram has had a little bit of an update since the previous volume.
Yeah, 1.4.
Exactly, it's 1.4 now. And so this is the first time that it updates without having a new member added to it, because all of the other updates were always with a new person added to them. But obviously the big change here is that Kaguya and Miyuki, they're now dating. They are no longer in a battle of love. And another relatively big change, I mean, there's a bunch of small little changes, because they actually compared them like side by side. There's a bunch of very small, kind of sort of pointless little changes in some of these. But the other pretty, I think, meaningful change is the arrows between Miko and Yu, which Yu, thinking about Miko earlier, used to be, she's a small rabid dog. But now it's, I'm worried about her. So that's nice. And Miko to Yu before was, he's evil. But now it's, I hate him, but... So, you know, that's better.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. And another, my last little thing on this little new diagram that I noticed was that the area where there has been the least amount of changes in these arrows is the arrows going both to and from Chika.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, I think there's only one arrow related to Chika that's changed at all, and even that one isn't changed much. And it's what Miyuki thinks of Chika, which used to be that she's weird, but now it's that she's creepy.
It's creepy. But it's like, this is not the sort of development that I was hoping for her. Not that I wanted them to be anything, but I expected to be like, I understand her more or something like that.
Yeah.
But no. Well, he's like, oh no, I understand her more. She's creepy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Personally, I think Chika should have been, if the cover of the volume is supposed to be who the volume is about, which is not always the case. But if it were, I think Chika should have been the cover, just because for me in this one, I thought Chika was all over the place in her comedy and whatnot, and I thought that she was kind of the driving factor in a lot of the jokes and even some of the story plot lines.
Definitely in the jokes, I can agree with you there. Like,
Yeah.
she definitely drove like most of the comedic side of this volume. I agree.
Exactly. And part 2 of that is the volume 17 covers a lie.
I know.
Absolute
I know.
lie.
I know.
Deceit.
I was so disappointed because we talked about it last time, how we kind of wished that Kobachi's eyes would be fully revealed in this volume. But there was barely anything with her. Like, she appeared very briefly. And yeah.
Onodera didn't even appear in this volume at all, right?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't see her anywhere. So
It's just like, what? I mean, look, if this is the volume cover for the last one, which it would have interfered with the perfect volume cover we had, so maybe it's just carryover. It's like, oh, I have both these wonderful volume covers for these chapters.
Oh, yeah.
But we got to keep it with Miko and you, so we'll just use it for the next volume. Which,
Right.
okay, I get it, but at the same time, deceit, lies.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. But at the same time, I kind of appreciate that Akasaka kind of wants. I think like eventually, when everything is said and done, when the series is over, maybe every character has appeared on a cover in some way.
Yeah, that's
Potentially,
nice. That is nice.
That is pretty cool. I think. But yeah, it's definitely very deceitful of him. So yeah, and also one quick thing before we get into the discussions is that we have changed, and I think we mentioned it slightly in the previous episode. We have gotten rid of the romance discussion and replaced it with a relationships discussion to kind of make it a little bit broader, because it has, in some cases, gotten a little bit hard to kind of decide what to put where and kind of how to talk about two characters at the same time if it's not related to romance, little things like that. So from this episode on, we are replacing romance with relationships, so that can it can include all sorts of just character relationships.
Right. And not just, romantically speaking. I just to clarify even further, not just romantically speaking, but
Yeah.
friendships, rivalries, any sort of thing that it involves, two parties or groups, I guess you could even say.
Yeah,
In some
exactly. Could be
cases.
more than two people in if we, yeah.
I think it'd be a better way to organize our thoughts and have a better discussion going forward.
Absolutely. And I'm also decided, at least for this episode, and I think maybe going forward too, at least if it feels good with this one, is that we're going to talk about the relationships before the comedy. So we'll save the comedy for the last part.
Got it.
And with that all out of the way, let's talk about Kaguya Shinomiya first. We understand quite well, like even better, I think, through this book than before, just how, like, kind of really why she and Miyuki want to keep their relationship a secret, and really like just kind of how, because just how bad it would be if her family would find out.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like this looming threat of, the family doing something. It's almost an intimidation almost. You could see if they had found out somehow, something bad might happen. And I think we kind of discussed this in last week. What will happen if the Shinomiya family finds out? Will they tell their friends about it? Besides the people who just kind of put it together,
Right? Yeah.
There's a few of those questions that we brought up that were also brought up in this volume, not necessarily addressed, other than the fact that they still feel like they should keep it secret from everybody in order to keep the Shinomiya family unaware of their relationship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do feel bad about that, and it just shows. Going along with that, this volume also shows how really vile the Shinomiya family seems to be.
Right.
Not just pompous, but almost sleazy in a way. At least the guys, the older guys. I mean, I there's that one chapter with Maki and Kaguya.
Yeah.
I assume the one that had his arms around all these women was the father, but maybe that could have been one of the brothers. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, I don't think there's much love in that home, and there's probably no loyalty whatsoever.
Oh, for sure. Oh, absolutely. And like we really did understand so much better through that backstory, and kind of getting the explanation to kind of the situation between the Shinomiya family and the Shijo family, and really understanding a lot more about that, and really how ruthless the Shinomiya family business is. And people died in the conflicts when the Shijo family broke out of that, and
ridiculous.
That is, yeah, it's awful, and really just how they go above and beyond to do anything in order for to get financial gain, and just really abusing the shit out of people for to get that. Awful. And maybe it's because this isn't really about Kaguya, but I just, since we're kind of on the topic, and it's just a pretty small thing, it's not related to any other character here really, so I figured I'd just mention it real quick, is that in that backstory we see Kaguya's dad, and we just see really how awful he is, and we knew this. We know that he is an awful character, and really in comparison, seeing Maki's dad, he seems like yeah, sure, he might have a little bit of a bad influence on his daughter, but he still has like this, well, I guess in comparison he seems like much more of a nice guy.
Yeah, I think it kind of portrays him to having more morals. I mean, obviously there's a grudge and family hate between the two, but it does seem like potentially the Shijo dad is a little more morally competent than the dad. And honestly, I thought the dad was just supposed to be this cold guy, but after this flashback, any sort of respect that I didn't have for him there's no possibility. There's just no excuse for it now. It's just like, wow, okay, complete dirtbag. All right.
100%. Yeah, and back to Kaguya, I guess. We do get to see her kind of going behind her family's back to get her preparations for applying to Stanford done, which I think is a big step for Kaguya to to do all these things behind her family's back, and making these very big plans ultimately.
Yeah, and I'm happy she's making these big plans, but there's just this, underlying fear that this is gonna blow up somehow, and yeah, I'm worried. I am worried.
Yeah, dude,
I,
same.
I know Miyuki will have her back, obviously, and so will the student council, but it's scary. If the Shinomiya clan is willing to kill other people in a fight with, the Shijo clan.
Yeah.
I mean, not saying that. I mean, I don't think they would go to killing, but I don't think it'd be very. It will end very. I don't think it will end very nicely.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And with the amount of resources and influence they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're scary.
But good for Kaguya, like you were saying, for her to keep going and yeah.
Yeah, and she seems just to be in such a good mood throughout this whole volume, and I love to see that.
Exactly.
And it's very realistic. First of all, she's in love, and I love to see her and like be this way. She really is high on love right now, and it's just wonderful. But it is, yeah, as we've been saying, it is going to get rough when she eventually has to confront her family about all this,
right?
And yeah, the truth has to come out at some point, and I imagine there's going to be a lot of drama when we get there.
Yeah.
And I can't help but kind of look forward to it, just because I imagine it's going to be, it's going to be really exciting, but it's going to be hard too. It's going to be really hard to pick, probably.
I mean, it's unavoidable, so might as well look forward to it. No, I mean, yeah, I totally get you. Like, I'm looking forward to it, but at the same time, it's it's going to be painful in a few different ways. So
yeah,
I just hope it all works out. Doesn't go the bittersweet route, but we shall see. Going back to Kaguya just being in a good mood.
Yeah.
One thing that I took note of was her goal for the term. And it wasn't necessarily to get like closer to Miyuki or, I gotta confess or I gotta tell everybody that we're dating. It was I'm going to kiss him again or like something like that. It's like, I mean, I'm pretty sure you could do that pretty easily. Whatever.
Right.
Obviously she has love on the mind. That's all she cares about.
Yeah.
And you can see that throughout the thing. Like, she's kind of holding it in that she's dating Miyuki and she's so happy. And she just lets it out in various coy ways, which I love. And I love seeing her kind of gloat in a way, like to the student council in those various situations that we found in the chapter.
Right, yeah.
It's almost like another side to Kaguya, where it's just kind of a joyous ice Kaguya in a way. I mean, it's not like she's mean or anything, but I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I just really like her. Her happiness there.
Yeah, I think I see what you mean though, and yeah, I absolutely love seeing her this way. It warms my heart, and I thought it was very smooth of her to turn Chika's prank back onto Chika.
Oh yeah, super smooth.
When that happened.
It's like, dang girl, dang.
She fooled all of them. Almost even Miyuki, because he kind of thought, "Oh, are we telling them now? Are we doing this?
Are we doing it? Are we doing this right here, right now?"
Yeah. Do you got anything more on Kage?
Yeah, because it's minor, I'll just say it here. She gives Miyuki a calendar or a planner or whatever.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be something she would have stopped Ishigami from doing? Like, don't get like a gift catalog, or don't do this, don't do that. That's too creepy, or something like that. And then she goes and makes this calendar with all these different play plans. I don't know. It seems like a bit of hypocrisy, but then again, they've already confessed their feelings to each other. Although this is a Christmas present, so it's before they confess their feelings.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. The only thing they had before that was the rooftop Shuchin festival thing, or a culture festival thing, which I guess is still more than what you had done with Tsubame at the time.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe she just felt confident.
I thought it was funny that she had done that, but I guess it's okay when you do it, but when someone else does it, oh no, wait.
I mean that also kind of is part of what she is, though.
True. Sure.
Or a lot of these characters, they have a little bit of a hypocrite inside them, and as I think most people probably do, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to Miyuki Shirogane?
Yeah.
All right. He has the lamest ideas for surprises ever. Like, I just had to say that. Like, making like some very like bitter tea to someone, like, oh, that's such a good surprise, good prank. No.
You know, I guess I can kind of relate to Miyuki here. I mean, to be honest, I don't have too many experience pranking people per se. And that's the thing. I don't really like pranks because part of them are kind of mean-spirited. Not so much the ones you do with your friends. Like, to be honest, those aren't too bad. But it's like, it's the stuff you see on YouTube or TV or whatever, you know. And just like Miyuki says, that watching those makes him awkward. He just kind of changes the channel or whatever. I'm really similar in that way. That kind of stuff just makes my stomach turn, and just like, no, especially if it's like incredibly fake.
Right.
Or, you know, puts people into terrible situations. Exactly.
If it's just really like jokes where people get either angry or really sad. Like, no, I absolutely agree with you there. I'm not big into those like prank channels and stuff like that.
Right.
But surprises though, like surprises, that's fun.
Yeah, surprises. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm quite the jokester. No, I've gone into my house and said, "Hey, I crashed the car," and my family really believed me. It's like, okay, I was just joking. I guess my family is pretty gullible. I don't know, but so I guess maybe I am one for pranks, but it's only with like my loved ones. Like, right. if I had a girlfriend or a wife or something like that, I think I would do funny little tricks and pranks from time to time, but nothing that would be emotionally taxing or you know, cause pain or stress on them.
Yeah, that's probably good,
especially for views. Like, that's ugh.
Oh,
anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go on that long tangent, but Miyuki's whole thing there did get me thinking about that.
Yeah, and I mean, I relate to it as well in a way, but I think he was a bit too lame though. Even though I understand
I agree.
Like, I totally see where he's coming from, but yeah. Not saying Chika had any better pranks, like, but I guess that's for a different day or a different part.
Wait a few minutes.
Yes.
I think the other thing that I took from Miyuki this volume is more of his emotional mindset with his mother leaving. You know, we already knew that he felt like he had to work hard and make money in order to earn his mother's love, but she left. And even after he said, I'll do all that to make you stay, just please don't leave. And she just basically says, I don't hate your father, you just fall out of love. And you know, that can be emotionally traumatizing for children. Not that talking from experience, but I just feel like that can be emotionally taxing on someone. And I think for Miyuki, that's definitely something from his past that he needs to eventually confront, whether through therapy or just talking it out with someone, that I hope he gets in the future. And I think that's what's being hinted as we go forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially traumatizing because, as far as we know, he might not have ever seen her since this moment. Like, I mean, it's not 100% that's the case, but it definitely seems like she kind of just up and left and kind of disappeared from his life. It very much it's like, it seems that way. Of course, I could be wrong, but it definitely seems that way. And I guess on this topic also, we speculated back when this was first mentioned in the manga. We speculated that it was volume 15, I think, where we thought that, well, what if the sister that his mother brought with her was not Kei, but like a third sibling? We don't see it super clearly in this volume, but I do, like, I'm kind of guessing it is Kei, because I feel like the height is accurate. Kenichi's a bit shorter than him, and
But it would have to be a younger sibling either way.
oh yeah, because he said little sister. Right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But also we don't see Kei anywhere else in that scene. So it's very possible we just overthought this from the beginning.
Well, right. I mean, I never thought it was one way or the other. I just thought maybe there was two options because either way, Kei is now with the Shirogane dad
Right.
and Miyuki. So eventually she has to, if she left with the mom, she has to come back for whatever reason. So I think it's still fair for us to wonder and theorize maybe this could be a third sibling, or it just is Kei, and there's just more to her backstory that we haven't learned yet, or at least more with her mother. That I'm guessing we will eventually.
Yeah.
Don't know how long he'll hold on to that, but it may have something to do with him moving on from his mother leaving.
Yeah, it seems like we're getting close to some sort of, getting more information about that. It sort of reminds me a little bit of how Akasaka kind of hinted at Yu's backstory from junior high. He kind of gave us a little piece in one volume, and then like a little bit more in the next, and then in volume 9 he just gave us the whole thing. I'm feeling like maybe he might do a similar thing here, and maybe in the next or in the volume after next, maybe we'll get the full thing, which I definitely am very eager to see.
Agreed.
But as you said before, his mother said that romantic feelings don't last forever. So I guess that means that her and his father's love wasn't true love. I just had to bring that back up because I do think it is becoming a prominent theme of the story, with this being one example of love that couldn't last. But I do think ultimately with the story, Miyuki's and Kaguya's love will be true love, and it will last, because I am that optimistic.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that I think that's going to be their story, their triumphant ending. We shall see. I feel bad for Shirogane because he's obviously not over it.
Yeah, that is very sad.
I don't know. What do you do? Like, when the person that was, your mate, your soulmate, just is not in love with you anymore and leaves, but you still have these very strong feelings for this person. I mean, or you know someone who's like that. How do you help them potentially just get over that instead of just being like that forever? I guess for some people that's how they want to live, but I think it's still different if someone passes away that's,
Yeah.
Your loved one. If they actually leave you and say, I'm not in love with you anymore, there's really no healthy reason to keep on loving that person, right? Or at least romantically.
Well, of course, but it's not that simple, of course.
No, of
everybody's
course not.
different.
It's not that simple.
But yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, how do we help this person move on from that? Or is that something that that they don't need help in that? I don't know. Personally, I would think trying to help them in some way, obviously not forcing them, but encouraging them somehow to move on would be the healthiest. But again, I have never been in that situation, so.
Right. I imagine in some cases maybe it helps to find someone new, fall in love again with someone else, if that's possible. I imagine, at least in some cases, that would help some people that are in a situation like that. But again, like, everyone is different, and I'm sure there's tricks for everyone. Although not maybe for everyone. Some people might just be hopelessly in love.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Is this too deep for for umami manga? I don't know.
I mean,
maybe not. No,
I don't know.
No.
I would hope not.
Nothing's too deep for umami manga. Come on.
I mean, it's not like we're going into the philosophies of man or anything like that.
No, not yet.
Wait until we get the Chika parts, then we'll.
Yeah. Yes. Anything more on Miyuki?
I think that's all I have.
Cool. Then let's move on to Miko Ino. So at the end of the first chapter, when everyone kind of starts their new game, we mentioned Kaguya's earlier. Miko is the only one that kind of remains silent in that one. It's just like ... for her.
Right.
And of course, I'm kind of thinking of this as her trying to still kind of mulling over her feelings, trying
Totally.
to figure out exactly what is this, well, what's going on in my head.
Right.
That's kind of, I guess, how I interpreted that.
Oh, yeah, I was exactly the same way.
Nice.
Everyone else has a goal, even Chika.
Right.
But she didn't, or Miko didn't at least have one in her head. I agree. I think it's because she's trying to understand really her feelings, specifically for Ishigami, and what does she think about this guy, or at least their situation.
Absolutely.
I think it's, she has feelings, but she doesn't want to admit that they exist at all.
Yes, I feel like that's definitely like her struggle right now. Is she's too stubborn to recognize her feelings for him.
Yeah, even if it's just a little spark. I'm not saying like she has huge feelings at this point.
Right.
But even if it's just a little spark, she still doesn't want to acknowledge it whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure.
So
it's hard.
But I do think that throughout this volume, we see little instances of her kind of pushing the envelope a little bit.
Absolutely. I agree. One of those moments I thought was, when Chika pranked her into thinking that she and you were going out. And, like, Miko's face and I guess her reaction just in general there was just great, I thought. Like, we know that Miko has a lot of respect and she looks up to Chika in a lot of ways. Or at least in the piano thing.
Right.
Maybe that's it. But she does look up to Chika regardless.
I would like to know more, Akasaka.
Right? Please. But anyway, like, we know that she likes Chika. And even then, she was still, she clearly didn't like the idea of Chika and you dating. So I think that was one reason where we kind of, to kind of think that she felt jealousy in that moment. And she did say that it would have been better if it had been Tsubame going out with you instead of Chika. First of all, that's kind of mean to Chika to say that. But I think, we could that could be seen as Miko having just kind of gotten used to that thought already, having seen you and Tsubame so much together. She's kind of gotten used to that.
Interesting.
Yeah, or at least that was a thought I had. But also, I could also just see it as something that she just said, and that if that actually did happen, if you and Tsubame actually did end up dating, then she might have reacted just the same. Anyway, I could see that also.
I think that's where I'm at too, because during that entire party, that was last volume, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She was very uncomfortable and a little bit upset.
Yeah.
Whenever she saw you and Tsubame getting close to each other. So I think that her saying that was just kind of a cop out. It's like, oh, well, I would have been okay if you said Tsubame or something, like whatever. But Chika, what? And yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. It was an interesting take, and I almost wonder if it was kind of a subconscious reaction, like a reaction she couldn't control.
Oh, I definitely think so.
Yeah, versus how she went about the I love you game, where I'm pretty sure she deliberately said or was okay with playing the game with Ishigami, and deliberately said what she said because she wanted to be nice to him in some way. But I think I guess we can wait later to talk about that. But I think in there she was also kind of pushing that envelope, but that was more of a conscious effort on her part.
Exactly. I think, in that moment she was much more in control.
Yeah.
Whereas in this prank chapter, she was caught off guard. She was not ready whatsoever for that to happen when she went into the student council chambers. And it was also fun to see, like, she was clearly, like, she clearly was jealous in that moment. She, like, her reaction and everything, like she was definitely she wasn't into that. Uh, and then when she learns that it was just a prank, suddenly she looks like incredibly happy and very relieved. I think
Yeah.
to learn that it was just a prank, and then I think so. Just that contrast in general, I think, shows that there is something to build this ship on.
Yeah.
Definitely.
More fuel for the fire.
Right. And it was nice to see that somehow Chika and Miyuki on some level picked up on this in Miko. It seemed like they had little, like, very short little interaction. They were like, maybe we shouldn't pull these sorts of pranks on Miko. Like, I sensed some kind of thing in her mood there.
Right.
Like, something like that. So that's also kind of a nice thing that maybe it's pointing toward her feelings, like that maybe they will be brought up, like pushed more into the spotlight more as the books continue from here on out. That's something I'm definitely hoping for.
Yeah, same. Would you say that we found out that Miko is a super M, like someone who's really, well, basically masochist?
Huh.
I feel like we understood that she was easily swayed by the nice saying of guys or people before. So there's that, but I don't think we ever understood that she actually likes pain. Like she finds it comforting.
Right. Yeah.
What?
Somehow she feels safe.
What in the world?
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely not expected. And I'm still not entirely sure what to think of it. I mean, to each
man.
their own,
Right.
but yeah, that was an interesting reveal. And also for her to be that open about it too, like she was clearly like
True.
very like, no, come on, like do it. I like it, or like, she sort of said like like
Well, kind of like that.
yeah. So yeah, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Man.
She's got issues, man. We already knew this, but like, oh man, she really
Yeah.
needs to talk to someone and just let it all out.
I think she does.
Whether it's whether it's Ishigami or a therapist, or even Chika maybe. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, someone she
talk to
trusts, someone she's comfortable with. Yeah.
You think Osaragi would have talked to her about this, but maybe.
I mean, Osaragi seems a little bit twisted too.
True. Actually, very true.
I mean, we all have our problems, so I guess.
Oh well, of course. Yeah, our vices and hobbies, I guess. But
right.
anyway.
And it turns out Miko is a poet,
Yeah.
and Miyuki didn't know it.
Yeah.
That was a very pleasant surprise, I must say, in contrast to the pain thing. So I thought that was super nice. I could kind of relate to her there.
Yeah, that's
fun
nice.
stuff. Abstract, but I don't mind abstract. I rather enjoyed all of her poems there.
Yeah, I didn't think they were bad, and to be honest, I didn't think they were that cryptic either.
No.
The way Miyuki was listening to them and talking about it, he was like, "Oh my gosh, how are you supposed to understand this?" I don't think it was that difficult to understand.
At least he was able to figure out that she had like darkness inside of her with that last one.
Right.
Although that
right.
was pretty obvious, to be fair.
Maybe it's a little different in Japanese. Maybe they're using different kind of vocabulary that's not
Maybe,
common or something like that. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway. Well, I'm not a poet myself. Like I don't practice writing, but I do think it was rather well done.
Oh yeah, I like it. And she has some interesting ways to interpret Miyuki's poem or well his love letter. It's about chewing gum you didn't finish.
Girl.
Yep.
What exactly? How did you figure that out? We are on the same wavelengths.
Right. Yeah, but it was really nice to see how she warmed up to Miyuki. I guess we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But
Right.
seeing her so like I guess happy and confident was a very pleasant thing to see. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Anything more on Miko?
I think that's everything I have.
All right then, let's move on to.
No, I have one. Sorry. I just saw one more thing.
Okay.
And this is kind of a silly thing. She recognized the name of the person who was featured in that DVD.
Yes.
So, which I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, Petter's right. She has a very dirty mind.
Yes.
She knows all sorts of things. Like only someone who's adventured into that stuff, not just like is thinking, oh, what is this person going to do, or what would this dirty-minded person think?
Mm-hmm.
Only someone who would be watching it themselves would know the name. Is all I'm saying.
I mean, she was clearly going to confiscate that DVD for personal use. Like, there's no argument there. I think that's clearly what was happening.
You think so? Oh,
yeah.
my
Oh,
gosh.
absolutely, definitely. Like, did you see how she reacted when she heard the name? Like, she was definitely going to watch that. I'm quite sure.
I'll be honest. I'm not as solid on that as you are, but I wouldn't be surprised if you already had that exact DVD.
Oh yeah, I guess that's possible too. Oh man. Mm-hmm. So yeah, one of the many reasons I love Miko Ino. All right then, let's move on to you, Ishigami.
My biggest take about Ishigami in this volume was his new kind of goal or commitment regarding Tsubame. And it's basically to take the Miyuki approach to things, have her confess her feelings to him, make her fall in love with him versus just, I guess, repeatedly confessing or whatever.
Exactly.
And so I guess it kind of adds another love is war aspect to it because Tsubame has already kind of done her sneaky ways back at her place.
Right.
So we could get an interesting dynamic between the two. Although I don't think Tsubame is going to go as far as Kaguya ever went.
Oh no, definitely not.
And I don't even know if Ishigami is going to go as far as Miyuki ever went. But I do think that his focus is going to change as we go further. I mean, yeah, we got the silly like, oh, he's building up his muscles here. I mean, that was fun. Yeah. But I think he is going to, try to appeal to her more in various ways and various effects. I'm not saying it's going to work.
Of course. Yeah, it was interesting, especially now that Miyuki's and Kaguya's war of love has just ended. It's nice to see it kind of start anew elsewhere.
Yeah.
With you. So I really appreciated that. And I also, as you kind of said, I also kind of hope that in future volumes, if he does keep this up, that it's going to be more other things as well, not just like kind of increasing his physical appeal. He decided to become trim yet muscular. But I do hope there will be some more maybe mind games at least, or I guess. Well, I guess technically we've already kind of seen that. We've had that in this story. So maybe Akasaka has something else in mind that's not really what we're expecting, perhaps.
Yeah.
Not really sure, because I mean this approach that he went in this volume was definitely different from anything that Kaguya or Miyuki had done before.
True.
To each other. So maybe he has other things in mind for what Yu's going to do moving forward.
Good point.
But at the very least, it's fun that he took Miyuki's advice to try to get Tsubame to confess her love to him first.
Yeah.
So that's very nice. It's still love is war.
For sure.
And something we learned, sort of related to, or I'm not entirely sure. I want to hear what you think.
Okay.
So we learned that he doesn't think food has to taste good, and I was, and which was just so strange to me because, well, either it's something new with him, like it's just something that he started. It's just the way he started viewing food since he started training, or it's always been that way with him. In which case, why didn't we know about this sooner? And stuff like that. And the way he talks about it kind of sounds like it's sort of related to building muscle and stuff. But still, I'm not entirely sure. Like, why the way he says that he doesn't like the way he kind of questions, like, does food really need to taste good? Like, that kind of just sounded like he never thought of it as if it should taste good. So, what do you think about that?
When I first read it, I took it as just his new mentality on life. You know, when people go on their diets or their new New Year's resolutions, they usually try to bring in a new mindset into how they eat and what they do with their activities and whatnot. And so, oh, this latest scientist said that you should actually eat only 2 pieces of bread a day or something like that. And, I feel like maybe he's kind of taking that into account. I mean, he literally blended up a chicken breast. Who does that?
Oh. Gross.
So personally, I think it's more along the lines of his new mindset, but I can't really completely deny that he could still think that about food in general. Although we had that fried rice chapter, and he was pretty adamant,
Right.
that his tasted the best.
Exactly. I was all actually I thought about that also a little bit. So yeah, it ultimately, yeah, it probably makes the most sense for this to just be a phase now that he's training.
Yeah.
Probably makes the most sense. But yeah, it was interesting though. Another thing about you that I found kind of funny, but yeah, it's very on point for his character, was when he was explaining kind of about virgins and sex drives, like about men and how a player is born, and kind of comparing it to a diner and stuff like that. I thought that was amazing, and like the poor guy got more and more worked up the more he talked. It was pretty awesome.
When he started to talk to her and admit, yeah, guys have a strong sexual desire, like I really thought he was going to go into, well, so do women kind of thing. And then I turned the page and he was like, but, virgins are actually safer. I was like, oh my gosh, this did not go the way I was expecting.
Right.
Which is good. I mean, I like my expectation to be subverted, but I'll be honest, there were some chapters I was a little uncomfortable reading, and maybe it's my Puritan background.
Well.
But I mean, it's whatever.
And I mean, I think even Akasaka kind of made a little remark on that on one of the between chapter pages. There was a question. Let me find that real quick. Is the story getting a little too prudent? And the answer is, I think it is. So even Akasaka kind of noticed, like, took note of that.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, you got to increase the Japanese population somehow, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, personally, I enjoyed this angle, or like this direction. Obviously, it's not. I don't want it to always be there, like, But
right.
I thought the amount of it that was in this volume, I thought that was a good amount, and I thought it was, it made things exciting and interesting. So yeah.
And in some aspect, it's somewhat real.
Absolutely.
I think kids those age, they're exploring, understanding, and about relationships and about themselves. So yeah, I mean, I think for high schoolers, I think it's fairly realistic. As long as it's not 24/7, then okay, then maybe it's a bit much. Right. Of course, it could just depend on your friend group. Definitely not the people I hang out with. Anyway, but no, again, it was funny to see him kind of go off on that, and his kind of headcanons about relationships and whatnot. It's really funny to see.
Anything more on you?
Nope.
All right, then let's move on to Chika Fujiwara.
Well, so like I was saying earlier, I felt like Chika was the star of this volume, comedically speaking, and even a bit of the stories were kind of moved forward because of her actions.
Were they really?
Not so much the overall like plot line, but just she was the one that started the pranks, and then that got the story going there. She was the one who started the love story, got the story going there. I feel like there was one more. She was the one that was going on and on about like the weight training thing. So I guess it's more she was just the instigator of some of the discussions, whatnot, instead of being like the main part of the stories. But I think compared to the previous volumes, she's had more of a role to play in the chapters than before.
Right, yeah, it was fun. Like, she basically had 2 chapters at least that she was definitely like the kind of leader of, in a sense. Mm-hmm. Like the I Love You game and the prank chapter. So that was great. But ultimately, it was still, just comedy, which is fine. As we've said, as long as we just view her as a comedic character, therefore, for those
it's all
reasons,
good.
it's all good. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't have a lot written down on just her character specifically, since I have some more written down for the comedy discussion later on. But the one thing I did write down here is that, I guess this is also kind of, it can't not be at least a little bit funny when it comes to Chika. But it was the reason why she wanted you to stop working out in the student council chambers was because she kind of knew that Kaguya would come in with a remark about her weight or something like that would eventually force her to work out as well, and she didn't want to do that.
She had so many amazing faces this chapter.
Oh, absolutely.
I knew you were going to say that. It's like, oh my god.
Right. But I also just want to kind of commend her for being able to think that much ahead, like thinking that, like kind of knowing that if I don't stop these guys from working out in the room, then Kaguya is gonna come in and she's gonna make me feel like I have to work out with them. That was something I really enjoyed, actually.
Yeah. No, it's funny that her goal is to lose weight still. I don't know. It's just...
It's dumb. She's not overweight whatsoever. Like, she's... whatever.
So I have a lot of notes.
All right. Shoot.
Chika fanboy. Here we go. So she mentions she's jealous of the couples that her and Hayasaka see making out in the mall, which... maybe not for you, but to me, I was a little bit surprised because I knew that she likes romance and has always kind of dreamt of some guy kind of like forcing herself or someone forcing herself on her, just like in those shoujo manga she was reading.
Right.
But I never realized that she was jealous of people who were in relationships right now, or just seeing other people in relationships. Like, she wanted that, because I feel like if she really wanted it, she could really just go out with any guy that kind of confessed to her.
Well, they also gotta pass her quiz. You gotta remember that. And it's not easy. It's not an easy quiz.
It changes every confession.
Right. I'm sure.
So yeah, so I wonder if she really does want a boyfriend right now, or she may just be kind of wishy-washy, just kind of, that'd be great, but also I want to have fun. Like, I don't know. It could be something like that.
It could also be that she's very picky with who she would, want to have as a romantic partner.
Yeah, that could be it as well. Which I wouldn't be surprised by.
Right. And, it's good to be picky.
Sure.
You shouldn't just go with the first best one. You gotta find the perfect one, and then you gotta be a little bit picky.
Yeah, just don't be too picky. That's maybe my problem.
I guess that's another thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing entirely. So I think the problem with Chika's character is she starts to bring up, well, in the few moments where she is kind of serious, she starts to bring up some important character moments. And then it just turns out to be a gag or something like that. We haven't had a lot of those moments, to be fair, but this one with the love game where she kind of states a few things about how she doesn't, or that she values her friendship with Ishigami, and it's just like, psych, never mind. Now, when I first read that, I saw it coming. I was like, oh no, she's just going to say psych. Ha ha ha. And it was still funny.
Right.
But the second time it got me, because I really thought maybe we were finally going to get something where she would admit that she wasn't lying or that she was telling truths to it all, but then she's like, "Ha, gotcha, loser." It's like, okay, you got me there.
Yeah. Yeah, and also just like the build up or like the lead up to the I Love You game when she seemed to
Exactly.
try to bring up this whole thing where she felt like she was being treated poorly by everyone at the student council, and it seemed like it would be maybe something rather serious, but no, it was just a kind of presentation to this game that she wanted to play with them. And I guess that, I mean, she has done similar things in the past, and it's always hard in those situations to determine if she's being genuine or not. Because part of me, can see some sense of genuine thing in there, but I'm also not entirely sure because I know she can be quite devious.
Right. She's not afraid to manipulate people's feelings in order to win a game or
Oh yeah.
or get the upper hand in something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never done like to ruin someone or anything like that, but when it comes to games, like, she's ruthless.
Definitely.
So part of me started to wonder if she has some sort of issue of confessing how she really feels or bringing up how she really feels, and then she kind of hides it behind just games.
Ooh.
Just kidding or something like that. But again, there's really no evidence for that. It's probably just more likely she is, like we were saying, totally willing to say whatever in order to win a game.
Right. That would be an interesting twist, though, I think.
Yeah, it would be,
Like,
wouldn't it?
anything to make her character a bit more like like anything to make me take her more seriously. That's
Right.
just what I want, kind of
Yeah.
at this point. Like, of course, we all love her for her
Right.
comedy. Like,
Totally.
of course, but still, I really would appreciate some more serious stuff from her. And I'm sure she could pull it off. It's just needs to happen somehow.
I'm a broken record, but when you get all this fantastic character growth for most of these characters, if not all, except for Chika, it's kind of like, huh?
Yeah.
What is the point? What is your point other than to make me smile and laugh? Which I guess that's all you need, right?
I guess, yeah. Yeah.
I'm still gonna buy that Chika figure though. It will be mine.
Good. Yeah, you should have it. You definitely should.
The Love You game, it got me thinking, why would she want to do that other than she wanted to prove to everybody that she could make them blush or something like that. Maybe because the last chapter where both Miyuki and you were kind of put off by potentially or even pretending to date, that maybe she was a bit, it kind of hurt her a bit, and so she felt like, okay, you know what, I'll prove to you that I have the appeal, that I can make any boy blush if I wanted to.
Yeah, I like that explanation. I think that could definitely work. I also think it works just in general with, it's basically her combining two of her passions in a way. It's a game and it's about love, like, well, in a sense, which are like her two big kind of interests.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like your explanation there too.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's I just love to theorize about her, and that it's never gonna happen. So I am very grateful that you are humoring me here. Thank you so much.
I try.
So the last thing I'll say is Chika's face when she's staring at Miyuki, like right before the whole kind of flashback for Miyuki that happens. Chika's face there is just so cute.
Someone's simping.
I'm simping. The simp is real.
Yeah, you gotta embrace your inner simp.
You get to simp for Miko. I'll simp for Chika.
Yeah, good. Deal.
Although, to be fair, your simping is much healthier than mine.
I don't know.
You have reasons to simp. I guess my reason to simp is that she's just hilariously cute. But
right, and she's funnier than Miko is.
They're both funny though.
Yeah, true. Miko is really hilarious too sometimes. All right, then. Let's move on to Ai Hayasaka.
Oh gosh, I didn't take any notes.
All right, interesting. I mean, that's fine. I didn't take a lot either.
I do have stuff in relationship though, so.
All right, cool, cool. But what I do got here on her is that just based on how she has been feeling in these last couple of volumes now, and the way Kaguya has been treating her, which, I mean, I know Kaguya doesn't mean it in any bad way. You know, she thinks she's doing something kind in a way, you know, but that's little Kaguya thinking. I think that Ai deserves, you know, some good spotlight in the coming volumes, and yeah, I guess because I feel like her life is becoming too miserable not to get focus right now. Just because she wants to meet people and to find someone to have a romance with. She wants that so badly. She's wanted that from the very beginning. And now Kaguya has that, and she's just rubbing it in her face all the time, every day. And or at least whenever she's working. Which is, even though she's, I know back in volume 11, was it? She kind of started working a little, like, fewer hours. But it's still probably quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's still more work than she has. Like, she still doesn't have a lot of, like, spare time. And she really deserves to have more free time and, you know, enough peace of mind to do what she wants and what she needs. So, yeah, I'm just hoping that she gets kind of that focus and a good resolution to that.
I'm there with you. It is kind of sad to see that, and I understand where Kaguya's coming from too. When you're in a relationship, you kind of want to just express it, especially since she can't really tell anybody else in her family.
Yeah, right. There's that, and in such a new relationship, like your first ever relationship, and it's like only like a couple weeks into it. It's like, I understand, but
totally. But I also understand why Hayasaka just wants to get out of there. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I understand why she'd be jealous.
Absolutely. So I guess we will talk a little bit more about Hayasaka later, but for now we're done.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Maki Shijo. Together with her auntie, she learns a lot of new things about amorous congress. I love that term for it. I'm gonna always use that.
Yeah. Where did that come from?
Such a good word for it. Amorous congress. Yeah, that's what it is. Yep.
From now on forever.
Yeah. And well, I don't have too much else on her, but I thought it was kind of nice that she supposedly had suspected that Kaguya had feelings for Miyuki from almost the beginning of that whole thing, and she had also been able to figure out that they were in a relationship now. So that was pretty, you know, well done on her part. Anything more on Maki?
Nah.
All right, then let's move on to Nagisa Kashiwagi, a culprit in a sense. She gave Kaguya the porn DVD.
Oh boy. How do you feel about that? Like, I mean, between friends it's fine, but to educate someone via that, I don't know.
I don't like it. From a 17-year-old's perspective, like, I can't blame her, I guess. But being more mature, I'd like to think, than a 17-year-old, well, pornography very, very rarely, if even ever, depicts amorous congress in a realistic way. You know, it's always somehow not really accurate to what it actually is like. Although I guess if you really just want to show, I guess, the core of it, I guess it might do the job. Man, I don't know. And I maybe it helped Kaguya. I guess it really remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Because we don't really know exactly, you know, how this affected Kaguya yet. Obviously, she was very shocked at first, but we don't actually know what she kind of took away from that. So I'm curious to see.
Well, at the very least, she and Miyuki because of the Maki talk,
Mm.
are aware that, or at least are now somewhat realizing that, oh wait, we're in a relationship. This eventually leads to amorous congress if things go
Yes.
well.
Uh-huh.
So, uh-oh.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's very interesting. And it's very exciting. And yeah, I'm just very excited to see kind of how that, like, or I guess what effect that DVD will have, or like what it had on Kaguya, and how she might act based on that DVD. So that'll be interesting. I mean, we already know that Nagisa kind of gave Kaguya the wrong idea in a way in the past when Kaguya saw Nagisa kissing her boyfriend with the tongue,
Right.
which
Right.
made Kaguya think that, oh, I guess that's how kisses are done.
And that's what's so ironic about the whole thing, at least with Kashiwagi, is she's seeing or listening to Kaguya. She's doing the steps all wrong. It's, well, you're the one. You're the reason, or at least
Yeah,
one of the reasons.
right. But I guess she doesn't know
But she
it.
doesn't know. Right.
But
She doesn't
but
know.
it's funny though.
So going on along with that, I could have sworn I had Kashiwagi notes here. What happened to them?
Hmm.
It was about her bio, and it was nice to get some more details about her character. And something that
Yeah.
surprised me was that it says that she's, was it gullible? No.
Well, that she's easily swayed by others people's
Yeah,
opinions.
yeah, easily
Yeah.
easily swayed and insensitive to the opinions of other people. Which,
Hmm.
honestly, I didn't really get that from her.
Well, we haven't
She
really seen her in like too many different situations, to be fair.
Right, totally. But her interactions with the student council and her boyfriend, it didn't seem like she was the one that was easily swayed by people. It seemed like she was the one to sway people.
Mm.
At least her boyfriend, at the very least.
I guess at least thinking back to like her very first visit to the student council when Kaguya helped her out, and I can't remember if Chika was also there for the first session, but regardless, I think she accepted their help and she probably acted on the help. Well, she did. Yeah, 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 because that was when Chika and Kaguya sort of in an unwilling combined effort kind of got Nagisa to go to like doing the volunteer thing to collect
Right.
money for some charity thing. And that's an instance where she kind of accepted someone's opinion or advice
Mm-hmm.
and kind of did what they suggested. So I guess you could see that as an example of that, perhaps.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess it's the easily swayed by others that
Mm.
kind of maybe scratch my head. I kind of want to see that more then, maybe get some interesting things.
True,
But again,
true.
she is more of a minor character in the grand scheme of things.
Mm, mm.
But
But still major enough to, make us want some more.
yeah, totally.
Yeah. What I thought was the most interesting from the character bio we got from her was that apparently she looks up to Maki like a whole lot and
Mm-hmm.
strives to be a lot like Maki, even though she never will be able to. It's something that she wants to do, and she
Yeah.
has like very high respect for her, apparently, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is awesome, and I love the kind of friendship, and it would be interesting because I have grown to like Maki more and more. It would be interesting to see in kind of a side story just Nagisa and Maki, how they met, and maybe why they look up, or why Nagisa looks up to her in that way. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Anything more on Nagisa?
Yeah, I just wanted to think that Akasaka bothered to mention that their relationship is kind of rocky in a way. I mean, not like terrible. It's like going well, he says, but they've hit a plateau. So I guess that's the
Exactly.
opposite of rocky. But they've hit a plateau. Um, Now, does that mean that they could eventually part ways, and that's where Maki could come in and on the rebound?
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, because it said they're fighting more frequently, sort of.
Right.
They're usually able to work it out, but they are fighting over like what the future holds, like after they finish high
Mm-hmm.
school, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting detail to point out.
Definitely, yeah. So I'm very curious to see what that brings.
Same.
Very well. Let's talk about Tsubame Koyasu next.
I wonder what she wished for.
Yes.
Perhaps it was to find true love, or at the very least, it was to learn to love again, maybe. Because I
Yeah,
think
I like that.
she was, because she was so, lack of a better word, traumatized from her previous relationship that I think it's hard for her to accept someone's feelings again at this point in time. So maybe that's what she's trying to pray for.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, at least at the end of the previous... No, it wasn't the previous volume. It was the second... No, it was the previous volume. It was the previous volume, yeah.
Yes, it was. It's hard
right.
to remember.
Yeah, because we've been moving back and forth in time, like, over the previous volume, so I was a little bit confused. But yeah, in the previous volume, right. Since then, that seems to have been a struggle for her. Or at least that's when we learned about that. And I definitely, like, since that whole part of her past spoke very much to me, it's something that I would love to see more kind of focused on. So I definitely like the idea of that being what she was wishing for there.
Yeah.
And also at the end of the previous volume, in that same scene with Miyuki's dad, she bought the power crystal, which Maki and Nagisa were just kind of making fun of that at the beginning of this chapter.
Yeah.
Poor Tsubame was just feeling really bad about that. But at the same time, I mean, she definitely looks troubled there in that little, it's a very brief little part there, but, you know, and you could see that as her just kind of regretting or feeling a little bit embarrassed over having bought, like, a piece of junk. But I could also see that expression of hers being kind of, well, just not knowing what to do with her situation regarding you, and kind of wishing things had gone better there and stuff like that, perhaps.
Okay, you could still disagree with me, but
Uh-huh.
the title is called Stray Bullets,
Yeah.
or Stray Bullet.
Huh?
So I'm pretty sure she heard them talking and she was embarrassed that she herself bought the stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think absolutely. I think that is the intention. I'm just thinking, like, additionally, she might also still feel kind of bad / guilty / just not great over what happened between her and you. Because I think, like, that's still not really resolved completely. Because they didn't get to, like, they tried to talk it out at school afterwards, you know, but they didn't get to really finish that because Miko came in and kind of interrupted it. So I think there's still words to be had between her and you.
Okay.
I
mean, well, at the very least, Ishigami said that he would somehow get her to fall in love with him or something like that.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's going to be all sorts of things, I'm sure.
Yeah. definitely on her mind.
Yeah. Moving on, I guess we can talk about Kei Shirogane and her dad a little bit at the same time, because they sort of had the same or a similar role in this volume, where they both found out that Miyuki is dating Kaguya in a very funny way.
Yeah. It was funny and kind of sweet. They had that family moment,
right,
together, you know.
Yeah. It was also really fun to see, like, both she and Mr. Shirogane, like both Kei and the dad, did, like, their evening workouts kind of in the same way, like 1 2 1 2, like with their legs. That was pretty sweet. But yeah, they know now, and Mr. Shirogane invited Kaguya for dinner, or at least to visit, which I can't wait to see that.
Oh gosh. These are high quality bean sprouts here. Or moyashi, whatever moyashi is in English.
Yeah, no, I think bean sprouts is what Miyuki ate a lot of.
That's right.
Yep. Anything more on the Shirogane family members?
No.
All right, then. Let's talk about Kazeno, the Pep Squad leader, who got a bigger role in this volume than I thought he would really ever get, which sort of gave me hopes that what if he gets a more of a notable role moving forward here, because I've kind of been thinking in this story that maybe it needs some more male characters, because it definitely has it has a lot of female characters. I mean, I love them all, but
Right.
to balance things out, maybe some more male characters would be nice. At least having them they were to be more focused on,
Mm-hmm.
because really it's just Miyuki and you, and I guess Tsubasa to a degree,
Mm-hmm.
and there isn't really a lot of others. And so I think Kazuno potentially could fill a role like that because, well, he has been established already as a character, and he got a little bit of a bigger role in this volume, slightly. Um, and I just think he's pretty cool. He's a nice guy.
He is really a nice guy.
Mm.
Um, I wonder if he'll have. I mean, I think because Yu is trying to date Tsubame, that he's definitely in a position to help Ishigami in some way. I mean, obviously he helps with the weight training, but I'm sure he'll give some other advice because he probably knows her better than some of the other people that Ishigami knows.
Mm.
So I agree with it. And I also agree that there aren't a whole lot of guy characters that really matter too much to the story. And well, this is a shonen. I think it would be nice to have that other kind of male perspective and, give uh, give some more spotlights on the guys. I mean, there's a lot of waifus, but where are the husbandos?
Right.
I mean,
Give us some more husbandos, please. Yeah.
I thought it was surprising that he turns out to become a pop idol otaku like that.
Yeah.
Did not see that coming.
He hasn't taken the breakup with Kobachi very well.
Right. Yeah.
Poor guy. I felt so sorry for him.
Especially since Osaragi is just like whatever, man. Like it was a
Right.
trial period anyway.
Yeah, she really doesn't. Yeah,
She didn't give a crap.
not really. And that was basically her only role in this volume was that. Yet she was still on the cover art, and we saw her like part of her eye even on the cover. I was like, whoa.
Lies.
But her role was that she broke up with this guy.
Do you have anything else on Kazuno or?
Well, just that he was able he has been able to figure out that Yu likes Tsubame, and I think that makes a lot of sense based on the fact that he has spent a lot of time around both of those two characters. So for him to having picked up on those signs that Yu likes her, I think, and I guess probably actually he probably even heard about the fact that Yu quote unquote confessed to Tsubame.
Mm-hmm.
So if he heard about that, then yeah, he would know.
That's true.
I guess a lot of people in school know about that. But that's all I had on him.
Cool. Well, since we talked about Osaragi, I have something about her.
Yes.
But actually, it's first off, it's about how there are 4 out of league girls in the school,
Yes.
and so I kind of thought that was an interesting dynamic. And Tsubame's on there, Osaragi's there, much to Ishigami's surprise, and then what's her name? The punk
Ryuju, like
girl.
I think it's Ryuju, the mafia girl.
Mm-hmm. And the 4th girl that we've heard her name before, right? Like
Yep.
that was up on the roof.
No, but it wasn't that chapter. I think it was when they were with Tsubame. It was when Erika and Karen in volume 12 mentioned 3 girls, like 1 in each grade, like being like the queens or more or less of each grade, kind of. Kaguya being of the 2nd graders, Tsubame of the 3rds, and in the first years it was this Koromo Shiranui. She was mentioned back then in volume 12, and yeah, here she was brought up again as one of the 4 non-student council member girls that are like the most beautiful at the school. And she was teased a little bit. Like we could see, like it looked like she was wearing like a hoodie, but but you could only see her like from behind, so you couldn't really see her very well.
I wonder why he's teasing her like this. This is very interesting.
Yeah, right. The way he's like, first she was just mentioned by name, and at that point it wasn't certain if she was going to play any significant role. But now he's actually shown her, but in a very kind of concealing way, which definitely makes it seem like he has something up his sleeve about her character, perhaps.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued there.
Very odd. So sometimes when you have a hidden face like this, it means it could mean that the face reveals something, or it's somewhat important to the story. Not all the time,
But maybe.
but all the time there's usually a payoff to hiding the face, whether it be, oh my gosh, she's gorgeous, or some other joke, or a story relation. So I'm interested to see what that could be.
Yeah, same for sure.
It's Miyuki's long lost sister.
Oh, yeah.
Just kidding.
Wouldn't that be a twist? Changed her last name and everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, her mom married a new guy, right?
True that. That's true.
But why wouldn't the father decide that she couldn't marry if the father didn't sign his divorce papers yet, right? So anyway.
Oh yeah, that's a good point too. Oh man, he still hasn't.
Poor guy. Poor guy.
Yeah, but very excited to see what Koromo Shiranui will bring to the story eventually, if she does. But yeah, should be fun. Did you have anything more on Kobachi Osaragi?
Let me learn more.
Yeah, no full eye reveal this volume, as we sort of predicted last time. I guess that's the biggest letdown, and as far as letdowns go, it's not that bad, so I can live with
it. yeah. I may sound like incredibly disappointed, because I am incredibly disappointed, but just kidding. It's not that bad. It's not that big of a deal.
Right. And speaking of that, Rei Onodera didn't appear at all, or at least I didn't see her.
At all.
That was...
Yeah, she's kind of grown on me, not gonna lie.
Yeah, she's charming.
I don't know. I mean, it's not like I needed a whole chapter on her or anything, but...
No. I mean, I'm sure we will get something like that eventually.
Maybe.
But moving on. I have two brief characters left to touch on. One of them is Mikado Shijo, Maki's twin brother, who we learn apparently is very good at football. And he kind of, that's kind of where he excels a lot.
Well, I appreciate him kind of following his dreams, his passions, and working as hard as he did to not only be on this, be there for his sports club, but also get his grades where they're at. It's impressive.
Absolutely. And eventually I'm dying to get some more in-depth focus on the Shijo family as a whole, honestly.
Oh.
Like him, I'm sure he could be interesting, although especially I think, as we mentioned a little bit at the beginning of the discussion, their father, and I guess the whole business there, and kind of their rivalry with the Shinomiya family. I'm dying to kind of get that conflict, kind of see the drama that could come of that.
Totally.
Really, really interested in that, and I'm sure it will lead up to something like that eventually, and I think that could be super exciting. Yeah. Yep. Last character I have noted down is Kaguya's big brother, who we got to see for the first time this volume, but very brief. He seems to be just as big of a douchebag as their father.
How do you just ignore your cute little sister like that? I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
How dare.
The goal of this man, of all of them.
Yeah, man. So, I guess, unless you have any other characters that we missed?
I don't.
You don't? Cool. Then let us move into the relationship discussions, starting with Kaguya and Miyuki. You mentioned the calendar earlier that Kaguya gave to Miyuki. I thought that was such a sweet little thing, with all of the notes that she had put down in there, and man. Yeah.
For how hypocritical I was saying it was. I mean, we discussed how everyone's a little hypocritical, but it was really cute. And Miyuki was kind of just I mean, I obviously liked it, and he was just kind of chuckling to himself when he was reading it. But then there was a few moments where it kind of got to him, and I don't blame him. That's really sweet. How I want to buy a new calendar here, and then I want to spend this Christmas together. It's so cute. It also fits her character so well because she's such a planner. Strategizer. So I love that, how even in this relationship that they have going on, it is a legitimate Kaguya relationship. This is how she works, and I love that.
Absolutely, yeah, I love that as well. It's amazing.
Continue on with kind of the romantic gift exchange. Miyuki gave her a necklace which brings up the whole tacky necklace gift exchange. But
Right.
it's okay if it's the loved one. But the funny thing with this one is Kaguya goes into in depth about like this equation and how it's actually a pendulum and everything.
Right.
And we see Miyuki; he's also wearing a necklace. So it's like, okay, so I guess it's supposed to be reciprocal or like they understand each other there. So it was intentional, I guess. But still, it is kind of funny that they went in depth on that sort of thing. But I wouldn't put me past Miyuki and these two geniuses to kind of have that strange romantic thing about
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I thought it was super cool, and it was so kind of on point for them. And like, because we've had Miyuki when he did the whole Arsene thing. It was a thing for Kaguya to solve, just like this was.
True.
Because she was able to solve that it was a pendulum that rotating or spinning a lap took basically 1 second, and that it would represent time, and that it meant that they would spend their time together, or something like that.
It was something like that. Yeah.
It was sweet. It was sweet though. And also, as you said, like the fact that they both have one, like they have a matching set, kind of is cute, tacky but cute.
And it's the moon,
Oh yeah, exactly. It's the moon. That's also an important detail. Yeah. And at this point, Amorous Congress, as we said, is on both of their minds.
Yeah.
So that is an interesting or an exciting teaser for the future, which I'm excited to see where that's going to lead and how that's going to be dealt with and
Yes. So
all that.
there's a couple questions now about the relationship. It's that one, but also when will they tell others? Not just
Right.
the student council, but also her family, if ever. So those are kind of looming questions involving their relationship, and I feel like going forward, there's going to be some interesting hijinks / interactions that will happen because of that.
Yeah, right. Even though they are in an like officially in a relationship now, there's still a lot of questions and uncertainties that it makes it so that it's still very exciting.
Right.
So,
Totally.
yeah.
I mean, who knows? Like, are they gonna have kind of moments that they have to somehow trick others into believing they're not a couple? Like, I don't know. I mean, it seems like when someone finds out, there may be a little bit of a pushback, but then they're just like, okay, yes, you're right. Or at least
Yeah.
Kaguya is.
Yeah, perhaps, right. But I think the best moment between Miyuki and Kaguya, and I'm sure you agree, is the late night call.
Yep.
Absolutely loved that so much. It was such a sweet moment, and they talked for hours. They talked for like over 5 hours, and man, such a good time they had.
So great. And when Miyuki said her name and kind of woke her up,
Yeah.
I thought, oh, it's so precious. So good.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. I guess there isn't too much to say, just that it was just such a nice and real moment between those two.
Totally. I mean, that's a big step in their
Absolutely.
relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it's kind of like what Kashiagi was saying. They've taken interesting steps in their relationships, somewhat out of order.
Right.
But no, this one it's a good, important thing for them.
Definitely. Yeah. Anything more on Kaguya and Miyuki?
Nah.
All right, then let's move on to the next relationship that I have noted down here, which is Maki and Kaguya. We have, of course, already touched on some of this, but we do learn about their shared past, and we really understand much better now why their relationship is so bad.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't think they had any sort of backstory together. Really, I just thought they just knew about each other's families, and
Right.
it's like, oh, okay, they're part of that family. Well,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I didn't really expect there to be something this concrete either. But it was really nice to see, and I mean, it was really sad to see like these two little girls who could have gotten along great,
Yeah.
But no, they're kind of forced to, well, or they kind of force themselves to hate each other only because of their kind of, well, because of their families. It's very sad.
Yeah. It's too bad. And you wonder if Kaguya would have been a little bit different had she had a friend, even in Maki
Yeah,
there.
right.
But because you see, she's kind of the innocent. Hey, do you want to read this book with me?
Yeah.
But then when Maki kind of says, "Of course not,"
Mm.
um, she kind of turns back into her cold ice way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
interesting.
And I think something that was interesting as well here is that Kaguya asked Maki twice if she hates her. And both times Maki responded that she does.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't like saying that. Like it's like she made a statement something along the lines of like why do you make me say it, like it's like she doesn't like to have to say that out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also made clear through her bio that she doesn't like the feud between their families. Like it upsets her. And so I think it is clear that she does deep down actually care about Kaguya, despite what she might say.
Right.
And there's and even to strengthen that as well, Maki said to Miyuki in this volume, and I quote, "If you let your sexual desires run amok and make I mean, if you make women cry, I will never forgive you." So she is there to kind of try to defend Kaguya ultimately, even though she's trying to hide it. She's doing a bad job at it, but she is trying to help Kaguya out in that moment. And she helped her to get the DVD running too. Like even that is a sign that she can't hate her if she's willing to spend time to help her,
Yeah.
right?
No, I totally agree. And even a few volumes back, we see that while Maki at first is kind of cold towards
Hmm.
Kaguya, in reality, she wanted to kind of make up with her or, express her gratitude towards her. Like when they went through the haunted house
Right.
and then the balloon scene, she wanted to show her gratitude to her in some way, but again, she was too prideful, and probably because of the whole family situation, she couldn't come out and say it, or it
Hmm.
felt like she couldn't. So it's interesting to get that further kind of clarification of that. I mean, this is definitely new stuff, but you look back, you can see,
Hmm.
that's where it's coming from.
Exactly. Yeah, and I also part of me, and I guess I can't say for sure, but the feeling I got was that if Maki had asked Kaguya the same question, like, "Do you hate me?" Um, yeah, obviously she never did, but I think if she had asked Kaguya that, I don't think Kaguya would have said that she does hate her.
I agree. Hmm.
Uh, Especially the fact that Kaguya was so adamant about kind of wanting an answer out of Maki from like on that. She asked her two times, and like the first time, and the second time, like what she asked, like, "Do you really hate me?" It makes me
Hmm.
think that Kaguya doesn't feel that way about Maki, and that she would have probably been open about not hating her had she been asked.
Yeah, I agree.
I definitely am looking forward to seeing these two characters, I guess, warm up to each other and perhaps find a strong friendship because I mean they have so much in common, and I think they would get along really well.
And that's similar to what I wrote down. I think
Mm.
had things go different in the past, they could have been the greatest of friends.
Hmm.
And your friendship doesn't necessarily have to be with people that you're similar to, but I do think that they would have so much in common in how they deal with situations in various ways. Obviously,
Mm.
they're still different in how they think, as it explains in the bio,
Yeah.
but I think they would have had really good friendship and kind of support for each other as at least especially in Kaguya's situation, her family being as terrible as it is,
Yeah.
could have been a good support. Now, I also wonder if they do become friends, where does that leave Chika? Like it's like I guess having a new friend doesn't replace someone, but
No, no.
I mean, come on,
I think
don't.
Chika and Maki obviously have very different traits, and they would fill different roles in someone's,
It's true.
as friends. But
Have we had Maki and Chika interact at all yet?
no, actually, I think Chika might be the only student council member that Maki hasn't interacted with. Or, I mean,
Interesting.
it's possible that we are not thinking about it right now. I guess
True.
but
I can't think of one though.
No, no. I mean, I can't either.
Interesting.
I don't want to say with
I
absolute
wonder
certainty,
how.
but yeah, I also don't think so.
Yeah, I wonder how they would interact. Interesting.
It could be fun.
Yeah.
But the last thing I had on them, on Kaguya and Maki, is that even Maki brings up in this, in that scene that they had, that she wonders if the two of them could have become friends. She doesn't actually say all of that, but I think that's what she was going to say. She kind of
Yeah.
interrupts herself, but it seems like she's wondering if the two of them could have become friends.
Totally.
So yeah, it's nice, and it's a very hopeful kind of interaction, I think, between the two of them. I mean, ultimately they decide to watch the DVD together, as an activity to do together. So I mean,
Yeah.
they don't. There's no way they actually hate each other. Like
No.
no way. And
It's just family faces, whatever.
right, yeah, and they're taking all these little steps to build a bond in some sense, and yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be good eventually. Anything more on them?
Nope.
All right, then let us move on to Miko and Miyuki.
Yeah.
So the awkward little discussion turned into a, well,
Really good bonding moment.
really, yeah, really nice little bonding moment there.
To be honest, I didn't think about their relationship too much. I didn't think they were great friends, but I never realized. Yeah, they really haven't interacted besides that one time in the during the festival, or not the festival,
Election.
the elections. So it's nice to finally get something there and see them kind of break the ice
Yeah.
in a way. And I'm glad they were able to bond through reading and poetry.
Yeah, that was really nice. And I thought I thought Akasaka depicted this kind of a situation so well too, because it
Right.
really is a thing, definitely is a thing that happens sometimes in life. And
Yeah.
yeah, he just nailed kind of the awkwardness of the moment, and just kind of like, what do I say now? Like, we know each other, but I guess we don't know each other, or I guess we're not that close. Like, how do we communicate? Yeah, but it was so well done.
Well, and sometimes it just comes down to being honest. It's like, hey, I really haven't talked to you too much, and I kind of want to get to know you more.
Right. Yeah, kind of like Miyuki did.
Yeah.
Mm.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I can really relate to Miko, like when she got so excited when she got under the impression that Miyuki was also like big into poetry, and like she got super excited, like, because she doesn't meet a lot of other people with that share that passion of hers, which I could kind of relate to, because I guess it's not as much anymore, but especially when I was younger, I didn't really know a lot of people that had the same kind of interests as I did. So whenever I found anyone who even had like remotely similar interests as me, I was like, "Yay, cool, let's be friends," kind of. So that was fun.
Yeah. What I like about Miko and Miyuki is, well, or at least what I'm hoping for, as it says, is to be continued at the end of
Yeah.
that chapter. I'm hoping that their relationship becomes a parallel with Kaguya and Ishigami, where they support each
Right.
other in very great ways, very healthy, friendship kind of ways. And so I hope that Miyuki and Miko kind of become that support for each other, as we suspect that Miki and Ishigami's kind of love will grow for each other, and then maybe Miko can provide some support for Miyuki as his relationship grows with Kaguya. So
Right.
it would be nice if that it goes in that direction, and
Absolutely.
not just comedic. I mean, if it is just comedic, that's fine. But
Right. No, but I mean, if it's anything like this scene, I mean, sure, it was comedic, but it was also a lot more than just that.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm definitely hopeful for the future of this, because it was like part one of this, so it's definitely going to continue, and I very much look forward to seeing that.
agreed.
Yeah. Anything more on them?
Nah.
All right, then let's talk about Kaguya and Nagisa a bit. Kaguya wants someone to talk to about her relationship. Nagisa is dying to hear about it. Perfect match.
Perfect match. I'm glad that Kaguya has someone that she can kind of vent or get her feelings out to besides Hayasaka, because obviously it's on Hayasaka's nerves, but Kashiwagi wants to hear about it, so it's kind of a good trade-off in that situation, kind of girl talk.
Right.
That Kaguya probably has not done too much besides with Hayasaka.
For sure, you're right. I'm sure she's done it with Chika to a degree. Although maybe Kaguya hasn't been willing to open up as much in those situations.
Yeah.
Because here she absolutely opened up, really. And it's also great that not only did Nagisa already know that there was romance between Kaguya and Miyuki, so it wasn't completely new to her, but she also understands, I think, better than several other characters, that the relationship has to be kept a secret, because she has had some kind of insight to what the Shinomiya family is like. So I think she's a safe person to keep that secret.
Yeah.
Do we got anything more on them?
No, we already said anything else I had. So
Gotcha.
We're good.
Gotcha. Then a little bit perhaps about I and Chika, which I had originally noted down for I, but it's a very small little thing, and I'm sure maybe you know what it is. It's we did actually get to see how and why I tried to kiss Chika, even though it was just a very short scene.
My prediction was a bit off.
What was it?
Because I predicted that. So my prediction was that she did that, or she kissed her in that moment because she was trying to hide.
Oh, that's right.
Hide her from seeing Miyuki and Kaguya, and I thought maybe we'd see them pass by, but that wasn't the case.
At least you were right in that it was in that moment, at the mall, so
yeah.
It was nice to see. Even though it was very brief, it was still nice to actually know just how that went down.
Yeah, it's an odd choice. I'm sure shippers are like, ooh, new ship going on here, maybe.
Maybe.
I'm not there yet. I see more because I see, at least right now, I don't see Hayasaka showing too much interest in Chika, especially during the distraction part, where, for one, which was hilarious. We'll talk about that later, but because I have a few things I want to talk about.
Yeah.
But she really wasn't really acknowledging that she existed. I mean, she was just kind of just on her phone while she was in the dressing room and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And even before this, I think Hayasaka has mostly viewed Chika as a hindrance, someone who messes up the plans, and that she has to kind of give it her all to keep out of Kaguya's business and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is one moment in one of the earlier volumes where we kind of see the track record between kind of battles won between Chika and I, if I recall, and it's pretty tied. It's pretty tied. So,
but maybe that's part of the start of something more.
Maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe.
But Chika did say that at least now she's heterosexual, so I don't know.
Oh, did she say that?
We shall see.
I
yeah, she said it in last volume.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar.
To me, it's just such an interesting choice by Hayasaka.
It is fun.
She's just like, just thinks about it and then goes for it.
Yeah, I love that. I love how he just goes with these wacky ideas.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Great. All right. Do we have any other character pairings or groups that we want to discuss?
Yes. Miko and you, during the I Love You game, she kind of takes that opportunity to compliment you, but without it being a real compliment.
Yeah.
But I think she really does mean that.
Uh-huh.
But she struggles to get over her pride to actually thank him for helping her out. But at the very least, it's a good step that she's willing to thank him. Whereas before, she wasn't even able to acknowledge his good points. Or
exactly.
At least willing.
Precisely, because similarly to the getting Miko and you to get along exercise, this is also a game in a similar way.
Right.
But back then, as you say, she wouldn't even play along whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But here she at least did play along, even though she does say afterward that I'm joking, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's progress.
The tsundere,
Yeah.
that also got me thinking, just in the grand scope of that game, what if the entire game was actually truth? You know? Like, so, hear me out.
Oh, wait.
We have...
What?
I know. Okay, just hear me out. So Miko uses this chance to tell her real feelings, that she wants to thank Ishigami. Then Ishigami himself says, wait, he says I like you. He doesn't say I love you. He says I like you, right?
No, he says I love you.
To Miko?
Yes. Chika said to you, I like you.
Oh yeah, he says I love you. You're right. Yeah. So he says I love you. So it may not be true yet for Ishigami, but I think Chika, again, I guess it's bringing back to Chika. Chika could have used this to kind of express what her true feelings are to people. So she says I really like you to, or was I really like you, or was just I like you to Ishigami. It was just, I like you.
I like you. Yeah.
And to me, and maybe this is just my optimistic side, I think she really meant that. But obviously used it for her game purposes. And but then you have like her thing with Miyuki. I'm just saying, you never know.
I wonder.
So anyway, at the very least, I think Miko was using it as a chance to tell the truth.
Yeah,
in an indirect way.
I agree with that for sure. Because right, she definitely has appreciated the help that you has been giving her and kind of how he has behaving around her lately. Mm-hmm. So yeah, very nice.
So I guess going along with Chika again.
Yeah.
Chika and the student council.
Ooh.
Do you even know me? Like she says to Miyuki. Do you even know me? And then she basically says, you guys don't appreciate me enough.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they acknowledge that they're not treating Chika well. Although at the same time, she deserves most of the flack that she gets. Mm-hmm. But it's so interesting because I compare it to another relationship with Chika. It's the board game. When she's with the board game club, it's like everyone really values her and they're just all gelling really well.
Right. I mean, they have a very different dynamic in that group.
It's a different dynamic. Yeah, totally. Different personalities as well. But, it feels like that Chika's not out of place when she's there, but when she's with the student council, it's almost as if it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb compared to everybody else. Yeah. At least now.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's interesting, and potential character growth for Chika eventually, acknowledging that, but who knows?
Right. Who knows? Yeah, should be fun.
And I think that is it.
Lovely. Then let's move on to the final stretch of the discussion, the comedy. Chika, well, speaking of Chika, I think there will be a lot of talking about Chika in this section, perhaps. Yes. Chika is an enemy of world peace. That was that was the first time this volume just killed me.
Oh gosh.
First of all, that whole her reaction to it and her face when she's like, "Oh no, what have I done?" It's so funny.
It's so great. One of the best Chika moments. There are so many great Chika moments in this, just facial expressions and comedy. This is so minor, but again, me being such a big Chika fan, I loved it. When she was trying out clothes with Hayasaka, she was like, the way she was coming out, she's like, ta-da! Yeah. Does this look good on me? What do you think? Or does it look good on me? Or, how do I look in this? Like, she's like, really in her element. And I just love how adorable and kind of blissfully unaware of the fact that she was kind of being babysitted by Hayasaka.
Right.
Hayasaka
just does not give a damn.
So that really made me laugh.
Yeah.
And feel bad, but made me laugh.
Yeah, I mean it's good. And hey, she shaved her head.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought that she would when it happened. I saw that I was like, oh my gosh, what she? And I was ready to go into it thinking she actually did it. I believed it. She got me. I thought she would do it, and so I guess she turned to me and was like, "Do you even know me?" Apparently I don't, Chika. Apparently I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Bald Chica is wild though.
oh yeah,
That
oh yeah.
look.
That was very very fun. And I guess that chapter as a whole was just very good from a
Oh,
comedic
so good.
standpoint.
So
You
good.
know, how she wanted to fool the others by, or well, fool Kaguya specifically by
Mm-hmm.
pretending that she and Miyuki were dating. Like perfect timing now that they've just become a couple, like
Right.
Miyuki and Kaguya. Like man,
Yeah.
like and
Oh
like
gosh.
seeing Miyuki's like just how worried and like just stressed out he was getting when she suggested that. It was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
no,
Oh,
I
bro,
can't
I was
I can't.
stressing out too.
Yeah,
I was stressing out too.
me too. It was such a good moment. Like the way that we were able to feel the same things that Miyuki was feeling in that moment.
Oh,
So
yeah.
good.
So good. But obviously, Kaguya, as we mentioned earlier, kind of turns that whole thing around. That
Right.
makes it really funny and charming.
Yeah, yeah.
Another line from that chapter is that kind of hurts me is Ishigami says, "Even YouTubers with 1,000 subscribers come up with better pranks." Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Ouch. Oh well.
Oh well.
That hurts a little bit, but we're fine. We're
We're
fine.
fine.
And another little thing in that chapter was the like when Miyuki holds up the "fooled you" sign. When Miko is being fooled and like and you know she obviously she
Uh
takes it
huh.
really badly and she's like oh no like and she kind of gets mad at you and Chika gets all stressed out and we see Miyuki holding up that sign and he looks all embarrassed looks like oh what are we doing
Exactly.
fooled you. I thought that was hilarious.
Uh, so in the next chapter, which is also fantastic, that I love you. We've talked about that a lot, but
Hmm.
there's one line that Kaguya says after Chika says "I love you" to Miyuki. Miyuki kind of crying, and Kaguya's like, "See that, Ishigami? That's how a man responds." I was just like,
Right.
"Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
wow!"
Oh man. Yep.
I just thought it was so funny because I don't know. She's obviously in love with him, so I don't know. Oh, and then during the workout chapter,
Uh-huh.
um, Miyuki asks Ishigami, "What anime did you watch?"
Oh yeah, that was really funny.
Basically asking what inspired him. And this is again relatable.
Oh yeah.
So I remember watching like One Piece and Naruto. I was like, man, I want to get that. I want to get that ripped or something like.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start working out more.
Oh,
Oh
absolutely, dude.
gosh.
I have had the same thoughts. It hasn't led to a lot, but
Oh
hey,
no.
I have definitely had the same thoughts. Uh,
I'm sure Attack on Titan has led many people to go to the gym.
oh my God, everyone in Attack on Titan is ripped.
It's true.
Ah, everyone has like 8 packs. But another really funny Chica moment was when Love Detective Chica just discreetly is backing out of the room
Oh
when they're talking about Amorous Congress, and
no.
she just realizes that okay, this is not my scene. She's kind of
I
backing out. That
love it.
was so funny.
So good.
Uh,
And just in general, as I keep saying this entire discussion, she had great comedic moments and
mhm.
great faces.
Oh yeah,
The boom gotcha, or the I knew you would say that, or
yeah,
her just appealing to Miyuki there. It's like, oh my gosh, I'd blush.
yeah. Oh, totally. Last thing I have on comedy is the bonus chapter, the last chapter,
Yeah, that was pretty great.
which yeah, I mean clearly just like a silly chapter, but it was I mean or not entirely as we mentioned a little bit earlier, like it was nice to see Chica, you know, with her pals kind of
Yeah.
being herself and being accepted for that, and they, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because the others are all goofballs like that.
Mm-hmm.
Was a lot of fun.
The misunderstandings are pretty great as you went on, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. But
Yeah,
it did go on maybe a little too long.
it felt
It's like,
short to me actually.
oh really? Oh okay. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, we get it. There's another misunderstanding. Oh, she's going to misunderstand that too. Oh, okay. I mean, it was still funny, and I really liked it, but it was after a point, it's like, okay, I get it. But then it led up
Mm.
to the cops coming there. I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, I
It
love
went
that
there.
so much. That was so funny. And
Yeah.
they were just making babies.
On the bed for money,
Yeah.
or
Exactly.
printing money. That's what it was.
Yeah. 300 yen an hour. But did you notice the misprint in that volume, or in that chapter?
Oh, did I?
It's when the board game members are introduced, they have Chika's presentation for Megako and Megako's presentation for Chika.
Well, let me see.
I got so confused by that the first time I read it.
Oh,
I was
you're
like,
right.
yeah, they have the wrong text in the wrong boxes there.
So I didn't even read the name. I just
Uh,
for some reason I just say, oh, she doesn't like tomatoes. Interesting.
right,
Uh,
yeah,
Chica has tiny cookies in her bag. Okay,
right.
okay. But now that makes more sense. And oh my gosh, I love Chica even more because I don't like tomatoes.
Oh no!
Well, so I don't mind tomatoes in my sandwich, but cherry tomatoes or eating a whole tomato itself is just, oh my gosh, I can't do it.
Fair enough, fair enough.
That's a pretty bad misprint.
Yeah, this is the first time I've noticed like a really like big one like this, uh, in the series at least.
Yeah.
Oh well, big oof. But what can you do?
Yeah, nothing really. It's all good.
Right. At least we understand that it is a misprint, and we're not,
Mm-hmm.
we don't think that the girl that looks like Chica is actually called Megako. So it's fine. We understand what's going on. But yeah, do you got anything more on comedy?
Yeah, one more thing is just the whole situation with Kei and her dad. Miyuki pulling off the covers and Kei just staring at him like it's like, oh, you heard you heard that, oh, that woke you up or something like. She's like, we heard the whole thing clear as a bell.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
turning that page was one of the best moments in this book.
Yes.
I think it was like, oh
So,
shit,
so good.
so good. Yeah. All right, I think we made it through the main segments of this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say quick. I'm not going to dwell on it, but the first time I read this book about a week ago, right after we had recorded the previous episode, I was a little bit underwhelmed by it, to be honest. I didn't feel like it lived up to my expectations in a lot of ways, or to my hype, I guess. And maybe that's on me because I waited like half a year to read this book.
But it's because Onodera and Osarage didn't really show up.
Oh yeah, that's definitely it. Yeah, no,
Okay.
no, but it was, I don't know, it was something. I guess I just really loved the three volumes, like volume 3 or volume 12, 13, and 14 of the Culture Festival arc, and then 15 and 16, kind of the Christmas arc, were also amazing. Like, so basically the 5 volumes that were before this one were all like top-notch volumes. However, when I reread this book again today, I felt much better about it. It might not be as good, in my opinion, as the 5 previous books, but I
Sure.
still, I am not disappointed in it in any way, and it no longer feels underwhelming at all to me. So just wanted to mention
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it doesn't push the romance as much as the other ones did, and we're kind of building up into a new climax or new story threads and
Right.
people's or in some of these plot points. So it's understandable, but the comedy was there, and we were able to find some good relationship moments. So yeah, I think it was pretty solid.
Yeah, glad to hear it. And I'm also glad that last time when we talked about the previous volume, I was able to call the school trip being a thing that is going to happen soon.
Hey, yeah,
Which was touched on here, and it seems like it's very, very close by now, and I'm sure
it's got to
gonna...
be the next volume.
Yeah, right. It's got to be, because it the school trip is happening at the very start of February, according to the calendar, if I recall. It's like February 1st or something like that. It's like the very beginning of February, and we should be at the end of January now, since it's been a couple of weeks since Miyuki's and Kaguya's relationship started. So yeah, it's got to happen next volume. So I'm excited for that.
Okay, so we got the school trip coming up, but then Valentine's Day. Oh, that's
Exactly.
gotta be
Yeah.
good. It's gotta be good, right?
I've been thinking about that as well, and maybe Valentine's Day will be in the volume after that one, perhaps.
Potentially.
But definitely also been on my mind. As for other little, like, I guess, predictions ish, Kaguya visiting the Shirogane family. That's something that's been set up for a bit.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm hoping to maybe see that as well next volume.
Maybe. I mean, I want to see it.
At least it should be happening pretty soon.
Yeah.
And I'm also hoping that Miko's arm will be healed by the next volume, or at the very least that it maybe will heal during the next volume. I don't want to see her in pain anymore.
Yeah. I think she'll still have it though.
She might, yeah. I have no idea how long it takes for a broken arm to heal, so I don't know.
True.
I guess we'll see. Do you have any closing thoughts?
We won't get any character growth for Chika. Hayasaka will still be in pain.
Yeah. Maki will still be in pain.
Maki will definitely still be in pain. And I think Kaguya is, if they go on their school trip, Kaguya and Miyuki will kiss again. That's it. That's all my predictions.
I think I can get behind all of that.
Super safe predictions.
But hey, predictions are predictions. So I guess that's it then. If you enjoy our content, you can follow us on Twitter at Umami Manga. And if you like this episode, please share it around with anyone you think might enjoy it too. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time, where we'll talk about Volume 18. Bye-bye.
じゃあね、バイバイ。
じゃあね。
じゃあね。